Welcome to this video of franchising. In this video, we'll explain the basic aspects of franchising. This video will be beneficial especially for brands who are exploring the franchising option to expand in the markets, and also for people who want to understand the basics of franchising. So in this video, we're going to cover four aspects of franchising. One is obviously what is the definition of franchising and what are the key terms that are used under the franchising business. What are the franchising models that are prevalent, especially in the Indian markets? What are the criteria for selecting the right model? So if you are, let's say, if you're a brand and you want to explore franchising, then what criteria should you look at, and how do you select the right franchising model for your business? And then finally, what are the steps for enabling the franchising model? So let me start with the definition of franchising. This is a classic definition of franchising, which says that franchising is a form of marketing and distribution in which the owner of a business system or the franchisor grants to an individual or group of individuals, the franchisee, who is basically the franchisee, the right to run a business, selling a product or providing a service using the franchisor's business system. Now I know that this definition looks slightly complicated. It sounds slightly complicated. So let me just simplify this for you. In franchising, effectively there are two parties involved. The first party is the franchisor. The franchisor is nothing but the owner of a business or a brand. For example, Fab India, Subway, McDonald's. You can think of these as franchisors. They are the brands. They are the business. And the second party is the franchisee. Basically, a franchisee is a business partner who's sold or who gets the right to sell the franchisor's products or services. Okay, what do you mean by that? I'll explain that. So let's say I'm someone who's interested in opening a Fab India store. Okay, I or maybe a group of friends that I have, we want to open a Fab India store. I'm just giving you an example. So in this case, I become the franchisee, okay, and Fab India becomes the franchisor. Okay. So this is the franchising is nothing but an agreement between the franchisor and the franchisee. So what is this agreement about? What are the key terms of these agreements? The first thing is, if I am opening a store as a business partner, as a franchisee, if I'm opening a store of Fab India, then I need to buy the right to sell the products of Fab India. So that's the first step. Okay, I need to buy the right to sell the products. For buying the right, I pay the franchisor, or in my case Fab India, a fee which is called the franchisee fee, just for buying the rights. It doesn't mean I can start selling the products. Okay, I'm just buying the rights from the franchisor for a fee which is called as the franchisee fee. Once I have set up the store as a business partner, and once I start selling the products, then I have to share my revenues or part of my revenues with the franchisor. Right? This sharing of revenue is typically called a royalty. Now royalty can be a fixed fee or it can be a variable fee based on the revenue that I'm generating from the business. So these are the two things that I need to give the franchisor for selling the products of the franchisor. Right? What does the franchisor give me? Right? What does the franchisor owe to the franchisee? The franchisor, first of all, the operating manual or the rules to run the business is set by the franchisor. Right? So the franchisor is going to give the franchisee an operating manual which talks about everything, the compliances, the rules that the franchisee has to follow in order to run the business. The second thing is technology and systems. So typically the franchisors would have their own technology. They would have the systems to track the transactions, to manage the transactions. So generally the franchisors extend these technologies and these systems to the franchisee, so that the transactions that are happening at the franchisee side are also properly recorded in the system. The third aspect is training. So obviously, if I am running, let's say if I am a business partner and I am running a Fab India store, then my staff, the staff that I engage, has to be trained on the products. Right? So this training is the responsibility of the franchisor. So this is how, these are the basic, these are the basic terms. This is the basic understanding of the franchising business. We will now get into details such as the models that are prevalent in the market. So if you look at the Indian markets, and if you look at the models, so basically there are two aspects when it comes to franchising models: who owns the store and who operates the store. Like we understand, there are only two parties involved in the franchising business. One is the franchisor and one is the franchisee. So either the franchisor owns the store, or the franchisee owns the store, or either the franchisor will operate the store or the franchisee will operate the store. These are the combinations, and based on these combinations the model vary from each other. So let me start with the first model, which is FOCO model. It's called FOCO model. FOCO stands for franchisee owned and company operated. So imagine a store, okay. In our example, let me just extend that example of Fab India. So if I am the business partner, if I am the franchisee, it means that I am owning the store. When I say owning the store, basically the lease is with me. The cost, the initial cost of setting up the store, doing all the interior fixtures, everything is with me, and the company or the brand is operating the store, which means in our example, Fab India will be operating the store, right? It could be Fab India, it could be McDonald's, it could be Subway, whichever brand it is, but they will be operating the store. When you say that the company is operating the store, it means that the company will put its own staff. It will be taking care of the rent, it will be taking care of utilities, all the running expenses, raw material, everything will be taken care of by the company or the brand. That is what FOCO means. Now the advantage of this model, if you are a business and if you are considering expanding through franchising, and you want to understand what are the pros and cons of the model, right? So the advantage of this model is that since the brand or the business is operating the store, the brand has a better control over the customer experience. This is very important because the brand has its own staff at the store running the store, so they can completely manage the customer experience at the store. So that way even the brand reputation, the risk to the brand reputation is mitigated to some extent. So this is the biggest advantage of the FOCO model. The challenge at times with the FOCO model could be, if you are a brand, let's say if you are a brand based out of metros and you want to set up a store in tier 1 or tier 2 cities, it can be slightly difficult to operate your own store there, because finding staff and supervising the staff at remote locations or maybe tier 1 or tier 2 locations can be at times challenging, and in that case you may want to opt for a local partner to run your store, right? So that is a disadvantage of FOCO model. This model is very common among bistros, cafes, fast food chains that you see in India. The second model is FOFO model. Now FOFO stands for franchisee owned and franchisee operated. As the name suggests, the franchisee or the business partner is going to own the store and they are also going to operate the store, which means the end-to-end responsibility is with the franchisee. The company or the brand is just going to give the brand name to the franchisee. So and this is the most common model that you see in the Indian markets. Majority of the retail brands are on this model. In this case, while the franchisee or the business partner is completely running the stores, taking care of the cost, initial cost as well as the running cost, they are paying. The company is simply, or the brand is simply giving the brand name, because the brand is, let's say the brand is very well established, then obviously the brand is going to have a brand pull. The brand is going to ensure customers to the business partners. That's how a business partner is going to make profits, At the same time, the business partner is going to give a royalty to the brand, and this is how the brand is going to make money out of it. Now, what are the pros and cons of this model? The pros obviously is that the brand, if you are a business and if you are expanding through the FOFO model, you don't have to make any initial investment, or you don't have to make, in fact, even for the operating cost is on the business partner, so you don't have to, the investment requires the investments that are required are minimum, right? So that is the biggest advantage of this particular model. The flip side of the challenge with this model is that because the business partner or your franchising partner is completely in charge of your store, sometimes the customer experience may go bad, and that would be a risk to the brand's reputation, because ultimately the customer sees your brand. He is not going to see the business partner. He's going to if I walk into a Fab India store, I'm indifferent to the fact whether the store is owned by Fab India or it is owned by someone else, right? So for me, if the experience is bad, then Fab India experience is bad, right? So that's maybe a disadvantage of this particular model. The third model that we get to see is COFO model. COFO stands for company owned and franchisee operated. So the company is responsible for leasing the land, and the franchisee operates it as per the directions set by the company or the brand. Now this is not very common, but McDonald's is on this model. So what McDonald's does is it basically leases the land, or it has its own land, and the franchising partner or the franchisee is basically the one who sets up the store, who is responsible for setting up the store and operating the store as per McDonald's guidelines. Again, in this model, the franchisee typically pays the royalty to the franchisee fee to the brand, and the brand gives its name or gives the rights to sell the products to the franchisee. Not very commonly seen in the markets, but yes, McDonald's is definitely on this particular model for most of their stores, for most of the restaurants that they are running. The fourth model is FICO model. So FICO stands for franchisee invested and company operated. Now this is a pure investment proposition for the franchising partner. So basically, if the franchisee is merely, or the business partner is merely an investor in the company, they don't run the store, they don't operate the store, right? So they are merely investing in the brand. That is what FICO means. We have seen a few gymnasium chains in India that are on this particular model. So these are the four commonly seen models under the franchising business. Now the next question is, okay, so I understand all these models. So let's say if you're a brand, exploring the option of franchising, so you understand all these options, right? So you understand these models that are prevalent in the market. The next question is, what model is best suited for my business? How do you take that decision as a brand? Now that depends on a couple of factors, right? And that's an assessment that you will have to do. The first factor is the company strength, your company. So if I am a brand, what is my company's strength? Maybe I am an online brand. I have a very strong online presence, but I don't have any offline presence, or I don't have any experience with offline selling, but then my strength is the huge community, online community that I have. How can I leverage that strength in order to make my franchising model a success? Your company's strengths could also be that financially you are very strong. You have strong cash flows. In that case, you may also look at opening your own store rather than getting into franchising, right? So you need to identify your company's strengths, because that will be a major factor for deciding on which model is suitable for you. The second aspect is company's financial position. So if you are, let's say if you have a cash crunch, or if cash flow is a problem and you have limited money to invest, then in that case you may not want to open your store, obviously, because opening a store is a big investment. You may want to opt for a FOCO model or a FOFO model. because that will be lighter on your pockets, and that way you're getting a business partner to invest in your business, right? So COFO may not be ideal for you, because again in COFO you have to set up your own store, which is a big cost for you. And it's not just about setting up one store, right? So typically when you go for franchising, you're looking at maybe 10 or 15 or 20 stores across the time horizon. So it can be a big financial drain if you're setting up your own stores, right? So company financial position. The third one is franchising partner strengths. This is very important. There are certain franchising partners or the business partners that as a brand you will find out they have certain strengths. They could be running their own retail stores, so they have experience in running offline retail, right? They could be having deep pockets, so they are maybe business partners who are willing to invest in your model, so FICO can be a good option, right? So or they may be having a good geographical reach. They may already be operating in tier 1 and tier 2 cities, so in that case FOFO may be a good option for you, because then they will have a understanding of the local geography, and they'll give you the reach that you're looking for. The fourth is target geographies. This is very critical, because now let's say if you are a brand which is mainly prevalent in the metros, or maybe your offices are only in metros, and you have very limited understanding of tier 1 tier 2 geographies. In that case you may want to offer FOFO model, because then you want to look at partners who have a good understanding of the local or the target geographies for the business. So identifying the areas where you want to expand, where your product has an appeal, is important. And based on that, and based on your capabilities and the partner's capabilities, you may want to decide which model is suitable for you. Now, when I say which model is suitable for you, it can be a combination of models. So you may go opt for a FOCO or a COCO model, which is basically company-owned store model in metros, if you're a metro focused brand, and you may want to go for a FOFO model in tier 1 and tier 2 cities. So it can be a combination of franchising models that you may want to opt for. Now that you have a basic understanding of the models, you have an understanding of the important factors to select the right model for your business. Let's understand what are the key steps involved in setting up the franchising model. The first step is contract or collateral development. A contract is the most important aspect of any franchising, because that is going to govern the entire franchising relationship. So the contract should have key terms and conditions around the commercials that you are thinking about, that your brand wants to offer to its business partner. Important terms and conditions such as exchange. What are the exchange offers? What are the terms and conditions around discounts? So let's say if you're a brand and you offer end of season discounts or some festive discounts, then are you going to extend those discounts to your business partners, or how are the business partners going to deal with those discounts, right? So these are some of the important terms and conditions. Replenishment policy. How often can the business partners actually replenish their stock? So these are some of the terms and conditions that need to be in the contract, and these are because ultimately the contract is going to be the Bible that you're going to refer to, and franchising is a long-term relationship. So your contract has to be watertight. It has to be, the terms and conditions have to be understood by both the parties, the franchisor as well as the franchisee. Collateral development is basically it means when you get into franchising, you want to send out a message to the market saying that you are interested in you're looking for a franchising partner. So that is what collateral development means. So you will develop collaterals, maybe a campaign, a banner, or you will put up a real estate space on your website to just send across that message saying that we are interested in franchising, and that's how you will identify your potential partners. The second step is partner identification. This is very critical because like I said, it's a long-term relationship. You need to have the right business partner. The partner, you may want to do a background check on your partner, just as a hygiene factor. You also want to understand what are the capabilities that the partner is bringing, right? So what are the strengths that you can leverage through your partner. The third step is operationalizing the contract, which is basically setting up the store, making sure the investments are there, stocking up the store, making sure the inventory has been properly put into the store, hiring staff, setting up the technology, establishing the technology. All these steps go into operationalizing the store. Then maybe launching a campaign, doing an event on the launch date. These are all steps to operationalize the store. And finally, performance monitoring, which is basically once you have set up the store, or once let's say your franchising partner is running the store, you want to monitor the performance in terms of not only in terms of revenues, but whether the partner is complying with all the rules and regulations that you've set. You may also want to do an audit by yourself, or maybe you can engage a third party to do the audit, which is all these measures are part of performance monitoring. So these are the key steps involved in setting up the franchising model. This is what we wanted to discuss in this video. If you have more questions, do get in touch with us on admin@smbnext.com, or you can contact us. You can see our number on the slide. And thank you so much for seeing this video, and we hope to bring more such interesting videos to you in the future. Thank you.